Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Frank James, this is my channel, and this is my video. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. I know I am, because it's a snow day and I gotta work. So, thank you, Lord. Today's topic is how INFJs are big picture people, how we're always looking to see what's really going on here, what's the end goal, how this helps us, how this can be a strength, and how this will also ruin all of our lives. This video could also be very helpful for INTJs because they're also big picture people. So all you INTJs out there, I guess you can watch this video too. We love everyone here, I think. All right, so what is the first function for the INFJ? It is... That's right, Introverted Intuition. Okay, now there's a lot of garbage out there on the internet, on the tubes, about Introverted Intuition, about all the functions really. So what is Introverted Intuition? What the crap are we talking about when we say this? Introverted Intuition is really just organizing concepts. And like any good academic here, I am citing my source. So to expand upon that in a bit more, Introverted Intuition organizes ideas, concepts, in order to find patterns and trends to predict what the future is going to be like. So introverted intuition is in contrast to extroverted intuition. Extroverted intuition is like gathering new concepts and seeing how they're interrelated and everything, but it's not so concerned about taking all these different connections and organizing them and seeing what the big picture is. Doesn't really care. All right, so imagine you have a jigsaw puzzle. So you've got the sky and you've got like a city over here and there's a river and it's all pretty and stuff. Introverted intuition is going to look at all these puzzle pieces and trying to be organizing all the pieces into what they can see from the bigger picture on the box and put all the blue pieces together for the sky and put all the building pieces together, you know, to make different piles so that you can then go to work putting it together. The extroverted intuition person is just going to run over and say, hey, I think I found some more pieces to the puzzle, and just throw them in the middle of the table, and you'll be like, God, love it. So the INFJ, because our first function is inverted intuition, what we're trying to do all the time is take everything we know and try to fit it into some kind of pattern, trend. This is the INFJ magic. This is our superpower, okay? This is why people are like, oh man, you can see into the future. How did you know all this crap? It's quite simple. Because this is our main function, it's the thing we use the most, we catch on to all these patterns and trends before anyone else does. And it doesn't even feel like we're trying to do it, it's just we see it. Why doesn't anyone else see it? People are like amazed, oh my gosh, how did you know that person was going to do that? And it's just sort of like, well, clearly from what I know, this is the pattern. So it's not like no one else can figure things out. We just do it so naturally that it seems like a superpower. I mean, the other thing here is that this is the downside to it. We don't always know enough all the time to know what the big picture is. We can't know everything. This is, I think, perhaps one of the biggest downsides of being an INFJ. When you reach these points where you don't know enough to see the big picture, you feel like you're losing control. You don't really understand what's going on. You don't see the patterns of how things fit together, and it just feels like randomness. That is the big thing that is going to cause us misery with introverted intuition. So what does this translate to in real life? It means INFJs hate drips of information without understanding the goal, without understanding what we're moving toward, what the pattern is that connects it all. Sort of like if you're following a recipe and you're just going line by line, but you don't know what you're making. An INFJ would just be like, no, what are we making? Tell me what we're making, or I'm not cracking one more egg, Mom. So for instance, this is where it becomes very applicable to your life. An INFJ who has a job where they don't really understand the big picture of what they're doing, where they don't see the goal, they don't necessarily have to appreciate the goal, but if they don't understand the goal, the INFJ is going to be miserable. I myself have had a job like this where I was constantly frustrated. I built scenery for the drama department at my college. We would need to be doing things fast, and I'd work with one professor. His way of directing me to do things was to just say, do this thing, screw this into this, and it would be this micro part of the job. And I had no idea what it was for. I had no idea if what it was going to turn into later. And when you're building things like that, you start with these smaller parts that then go into the set. So you have to put these pieces of wood together, it doesn't make any sense, and then later you find out, oh, this is a house. And sometimes I would just be totally lost and feeling like I was grinding my gears, and I would make all these stupid mistakes, and I would bring the stuff that he told me to do, and he'd say, this isn't right. And I'm like, what do you mean? I did what you said. And he would say, well, no, because now I can't fit it into this other thing. And I'm like, well, if you had told me where this was going, I wouldn't have made those mistakes. So if you have a job like that and you're an INFJ, you're going to be grinding your gears a bit. Okay, now this is where it starts to get a little creepy. We need to know the big picture when it comes to other people. I think in the INFJ stare video I made a couple weeks ago, I talked about this, how we look at other people and we're trying to just boil them down to concepts, basically. We're abstractizing them, if I can coin a word right now. And it's the introverted intuition wanting to see the big picture. Okay, this person said this, they said this, what are they aiming at? What is the point here? We're trying to take a complex organism and boil them down to a couple of ideas. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Usually it can make us seem a bit analytical and distant from people. The bad side to this is that, we're trying to see this person as a whole to try to figure them out. And meanwhile, we're ignoring their specific needs in the moment. We're not really connecting with them in the present on a very meaningful way. We're trying to step back and we're trying to understand them completely in a simplistic way, because that's how we can understand the rest of the world. But in a way, it can kind of ruin any closeness with people unless you can learn to turn it off and be like, okay, I need to connect with this person one-to-one, to see them in the present moment, to see where they are right now, to not just try to be condensing them into a few pithy concepts. Okay, then when it really gets concerning for the INFJ is when we start to view the world as a whole and try to identify the big picture. Because we're going to turn on the news and we're going to see all the garbage that's happening, and we're going to say, well, clearly no one is keeping their eye on the big picture here, so we're all screwed. Which is a reason why an INFJ probably shouldn't watch the news, because you're going to be trying to make sense of all of it and you're not going to be able to. So, and then this is going to really hit home, so brace yourself. We need to see the big picture in our own lives, which can be very difficult sometimes. It can throw us into depression when we can't see, like, what is all this driving towards? Why don't I have control over all of these other things? And there's so many things that I don't know, and I can't make sense of any of it. That's when it starts to really get you down, this introverted intuition. So as you know, there's intuition and then there's sensing, so there's like opposites. And so if your main function is going to be introverted intuition, then your last function is going to be the opposite, extroverted sensing. And this is to scale. If your introverted intuition is this big and this developed, your extroverted sensing is going to be this tiny and weak. So introverted intuition is our big function, so we neglect the extroverted sensing. Extroverted sensing is being in the present moment and seeing all the details. You know the saying, oh, he's missing the forest for the trees. INFJs are the reverse of that. We miss the trees for the forest. So we're walking around in the forest and we see the big picture. We're like, oh, isn't this a beautiful forest? And it's so big and it's part of this ecosystem. And then you run into a tree because you're not paying attention to where you are in the present moment and the details. So solutions. What do we do about this problem? How do we prevent our lives from burning down in a flaming wreck around us? I know I keep harping on this spirituality junk, guys, but I think this is why I, in particular, and many INFJs are drawn to spirituality, because we realize that we can't know everything, and we're maybe looking for that big pattern in the universe. Like, what does it all mean? What is it all driving for? What is the biggest picture? That's what spirituality offers. Now, that's not to say you can't be an INFJ atheist, because maybe you learn to get to that point where you say, nope, there ain't no pattern, and I'm okay with that. Either way, whatever way you want to go, you need to learn to come to that point where there's a limit to your knowledge. You can't know everything. That doesn't mean that everything's going down in flames. That just means you don't know. Basically, for any type, what you need to do is to be developing this little withered, atrophied function in order to improve your life, basically. So that means for the INFJ, you need to be developing a conscious focus on the present moment, on now. You need to learn to focus on the details. Like I said, you need to accept that you can't always know the big picture. So that's why INFJ people are big picture people. I shared with you what I think are the good aspects of that and the aspects that are going to ruin our lives, and my opinion on how to make sure that you don't go crazy as an INFJ. All right, so since it is a snow day, why don't you say we go outside, huh? All right, let's go. Thanks for joining me outside. This is why I love the snow so much, because it's so quiet. The sky is gray. It's this simplified color palette. There's not all this detail to take in. There's not all this small picture stuff. I wish that every day could be like this. Although maybe I wouldn't say that if I was in a place that every day was like this. There's a cardinal over there on the bird feeder. I'm gonna try to sneak up on it. We'll get some nature shots. Well, it's not a cardinal though. Oh wait, the cardinal's on the ground. There he goes. Okay, so I'm probably not going to become a nature photographer. Alright, well thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If you want to see more videos, subscribe. And until next time, stay cool, stay you. I'll see you later.